All right, we're back to daily reflections and more fun stuff. As promised, I'm here with Madison, Bianca, and Brandon. And this is our daily reflections for Monday, February 27th, just for today. Pure motives. We examine our actions, reactions, and motives. We often find that we've been doing better than we've been feeling. And that's from the basic text, page 42. Imagine a daily meditation book with this kind of message. When you wake up in the morning, before you rise from bed, take a moment for reflection. Lie back, gather your thoughts, and consider your plans for the day. One by one, review the motives behind those plans. If your motives are not entirely pure, roll over and go back to sleep. Nonsense, right? No matter how long we've been clean, almost all of us have mixed motives behind almost everything we do. However, that's no reason to put our lives on hold. We don't have to wait for our motives to become perfectly pure before we can start living our recovery. As the program works its way into our lives, we begin acting less frequently on our more questionable motives. We regularly examine our lives and we talk with our sponsor about what we find. We pray for knowledge of our higher power's will for us, and we seek the power to act on the knowledge we're given. The result? We don't get perfect, but we do get better. We've begun working a spiritual program. We won't ever become spiritual giants. But if we look at ourselves realistically, we'll probably realize that we've been doing better than we've been feeling. So just for today, I will examine myself realistically. I will seek the power to act on my best motives and not to act on my worst.
I love motives. I always want to tell people, what's your motive? You know, like it's my business what their motive is. When I did inventory of my life, right, and I examined everything and what my part was, after that, I was able to see my motives a lot more clearly. Yeah, a lot of my inventory, my part was using somebody for security purposes, whether it be financial, whether it be emotional, housing, whatever. I used you. If you had something that I wanted, I used you. That was not a pure motive whatsoever. Something that I struggled with for about the first year was being in a relationship to meet my needs, right? To use that person to meet my emotional needs. For me personally, that was definitely a mixed motive, and it wasn't a pure motive for me. For a while, I wasn't willing to let go of it, but as I stay sober and I continue to do the next right thing, and I continue to take inventory of my life and my interactions with people, that goes away. Like I'm okay today, and I don't need to use people for my emotional security.
I totally understand. I remember when I first got sober, I go to this treatment center and my motives were nowhere in the right place at all. I wanted a nap and a sandwich. Like, that's it. A roof over my head. I wanted to sleep. I wanted some food. The program talks about us, being responsible to carry a message and to help other people. Those were not my motives. My motives were so unpure when I first got sober, but I don't think your motives necessarily matter when you first get here. As time progresses, as you learn more about yourself, your character defects, as you take a look at those glaring character defects, it becomes more important what your motives really are. I realize that today in my life. It's a direct result of this program, though, showing me like, hey, where's your head, where's your heart supposed to be in this scenario? Do you want these things to help another alcoholic or an addict? What are you doing in this scenario? Ask yourselves why you do what you do. That's what I was told. And so today I have to check my motives. Of course, I like that the reading said there's no reason to put our lives on hold, because there's really not. If you have a great opportunity, to do something, no matter what it is, whether it be a job or a relationship, check your motives, of course, but if they're not pure in the beginning, maybe they can get that way. That's my take on it anyway.
So I totally agree with you. I was actually going to use that example but mine was when I was when I would go detox. You know, I would use my family, because when I was out in my addiction, I was not allowed near the house or anything like that. They would talk to me on the phone for support, but they wouldn't give me money, they wouldn't feed me, they wouldn't do anything because they wanted to make things hard on me, so I'd come and get clean faster. So I would go to my mom's house and try and detox, or she would take me to detox, and I would get her so excited, and I'd be like, yeah, I'm so ready to go to treatment, like I'm gonna change my life around. But in all reality, I was just tired, and I wanted to shower, and I wanted to eat, and I wanted to feel better about myself and make myself feel that I'm doing good in my life by trying to get clean, when I knew deep down that it wasn't gonna work, because I wasn't willing to do all the work I needed to do in order to get clean. And today, what I do differently is to show my mom that's not the person I am anymore. I still live with her. I pick up after myself. I help cook dinner. I'll do the dishes. I help my mom whenever she needs things. I show gratitude so she knows that I'm not just there using her to just live my life. You know, I'm there because she's helping me, and I'm growing in my recovery. And I'm just grateful that she can be there and do those things for me. I don't have the right motives for everything. I'll realize that when I'm doing my inventory. I have a piece of paper and I use a dry erase marker. It's like a little laminated one, and I'll go through and check off like my will and God's will. And most of the time it's my will that I'm running on. And it's to get things that I want. Yeah, mostly just to get things that I want, and it's not okay. And I don't realize it at the time, but when I sit down and I think about it, it just reminds me of when I'm going into something I really need to check myself, because I don't want to do something wrong in my recovery so many times that it leads to me getting loaded.
Fear plays a part in almost every motive behind every action I take. And for a really long time, it played a big part, you know. I'm afraid of being dope sick. I'm afraid of getting caught. I'm afraid of going to jail. I'm afraid you're not going to like me. I'm afraid you're going to be mad at me. That was why I lied. That was why I stole money. That's why I ran from like all these things. Just fear drove me in every direction. And then, I got into recovery, and I still, it was a pretty big part of why, there were things I didn't have to be afraid of anymore. Once I got past detoxing and going through treatment, I didn't have to be afraid of being dope sick anymore. But I still had to keep going, and I was still very selfish all the time. I would lie to people about the reasons I couldn't go do things, because I want to sleep. I want to play video games, whatever it is. I want to do what I want to do, and I don't want to help you in any way. And then I started to realize, like, that started to weigh on me. It started to weigh on my conscience. So I started doing things in the interest of helping people and no other reason, regardless of how I felt about it. I probably didn't like it. I probably didn't want to do it. It was probably going to hurt. It was probably going to be awkward. It was going to be unfamiliar. And as time went on, almost without my permission, my motive started to change. I agree to help people even when I don't really want to, because I know that's the right thing to do. My motive has been more to help people. That's not to say that I'm perfect all the time. A really good example is sometimes, I'm asked to go speak at a meeting somewhere or something, and before I speak, like most people, I say like a short little prayer while I'm sitting there waiting for them to go through all the readings and trying to calm down before I start speaking. And it goes something like this, like, God, please help me carry a message of truth, help me to help someone, and if it's not too much, help me look cool. I mean, like, I want to help people, but at the same time, I kind of want to look cool. And, I'm far from perfect. I'm never going to be perfect, and I've had to come to terms with that. I'm a weird perfectionist, like a lot of people. But I'm much, much better than I was before. And as long as I keep doing this, as long as I keep implementing the things I've been taught, as long as I keep practicing this in my life, I'll continue to get better. And that's really all I can hope for, is to be a little bit better today than I was yesterday.
You covered it pretty good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You did good.
You did good.
Did I look cool?
You did look
cool.
All right. Thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure. Join us again next week for more fun stuff.